Caylee Anthony.
It's Caylee Anthony.
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 We're sweat to death. Okay.
Not only were traces of chloroform found in the trunk of her car, but that her laptop computer showed she searched the internet.
The jury find the defendant not guilty.
But I also couldn't exclude the possibility of it being an accident, so I can't find her guilty of a crime if I'm not sure a crime was committed.
I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Caylee Anthony. My daughter is Caylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony.
Sir, definitely something happened to Caylee. She's no longer with us. And Casey was the last one that I saw with Caylee. 1 and 1 adds up to 2, sir, in my mind.
My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to.
She sees Gypsy Plastered having a reality TV show. Now she wants that idealized life. Now she wants to be a reality TV star. She thinks, hey, I can make some money on Substack and TikTok. You know who she's really pickpocketing is the public. She's playing on all of our goodwill. She's lying. She's saying she's advocating for her daughter. She's grandiose. She is propping herself up, trying to gain sympathy, and she's abusing the public so she can get money.
Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
In the summer of 2008, a story unfolded that would grip the nation in shock, disbelief, and outrage.
2-year-old Caylee Anthony has been missing for more than a month, and police are looking for the girl.
It's a mystery. Where's 2-year-old Caylee Anthony?
They have no idea what happened to the little girl.
It was the story of a missing 2-year-old girl, Caylee Anthony, whose face was soon plastered across news outlets, fueling a desperate search.
An alarming new details in the case of a missing 2-year-old girl.
But as the days turned into weeks, one question loomed larger than any other. Where was Caylee? At the center of the storm was Caylee's mother, Caylee Anthony, a then 22-year-old woman whose behavior in the wake of her daughter's disappearance would spark one of the most controversial trials in American history. For 31 days, Caylee was missing before authorities were even notified. 31 days in which Caylee lived as though nothing had happened. She was seen partying at nightclubs, participating in hot body contests, and even getting a tattoo that read Bella Vita, meaning beautiful life.
One night we had been promoting a hot body contest. Caylee did compete in the contest. That was the photo of her in the infamous blue dress.
Meanwhile, Caylee's whereabouts remained unknown. It wasn't until July 15, 2008, that Caylee's mother, Cindy Anthony, made a frantic 911 call, reporting that her granddaughter had been missing for a month.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff saying I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month.
In a chilling moment, Cindy's panic gave way to fury as she told the dispatcher, "It smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car."
There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Caylee, Caylee Anthony.
How long has she been missing for?
I have not seen her since the 7th of June.
Okay, I understand. Can you calm down for me for just a minute, and I need to know what's going on, okay? I'm gonna try and talk. Is your daughter there?
I'm on the phone with them.
Is your daughter there?
Yes.
Can I speak with her?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. Well, can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you last saw her a month ago?
31 days.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid.
The car, Casey's Pontiac Sunfire, would soon become a key piece of evidence. When investigators examined the vehicle, they found traces of decomposition in a trunk and a strand of Caylee's hair exhibiting signs of post-mortem banding, a clear indicator that she had died.
He alerted to the odor of human decomposition.
In the trunk of that car?
Yes, ma'am.
Casey's explanation for her daughter's disappearance unraveled into a web of lies that made the public and law enforcement question her innocence. At first, Casey claimed that Caylee had been taken by a nanny named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, whom Casey referred to as Zany the Nanny.
Back on June 9th, 2008, you took Casey to a babysitter's house.
Yes.
And who was this babysitter?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Do you know how to spell the first name?
Zenaida.
How long had you known Zenaida?
Almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years Christmas this year.
And where did you meet her? Who did you meet her through?
A mutual friend. His name is Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. I got off of work, left Universal, driving back to pick up Caylee like a normal day, and I show up to the apartment, knock on the door, nobody answers. I call Zenaida's cell phone and it's out of service. It says that the phone is no longer in service. Excuse me. I sit down on the steps and wait for a little bit to see if maybe it was just a fluke, if something happened. Time passed. I didn't hear from anyone. No one showed up to the house, so I went over to J. Blanchard Park and checked a couple other places where maybe possibly they would have gone. A couple stores, just regular places that I know Zenaida shops at, and she's taken Caylee before. After about 7 o'clock, when I still hadn't heard anything, I was getting pretty upset, pretty frantic, and I went to a neutral place. I didn't really want to come home. I wasn't sure what I'd say about not knowing where Caylee was. Still hoping that I would get a call or, find out that Caylee was coming back so that I could go get her.
In reality, the name belonged to an innocent woman who had simply visited the same apartment complex as Casey on the same day. Investigators later discovered that Casey had likely pulled the name from an information card Zenaida had filled out, which included details about her daughters and their vehicles, details that eerily matched what Casey told police. As a result, the real Zenaida Gonzalez faced harassment, death threats, and lost her job and home, all because of a lie.
It hurts because you have to look at your daughter's face and explain to them why you're getting accused of kidnapping a child.
In 2011, she sued Casey for defamation, arguing that a similarity of her name to Zany the Nanny led people to believe that she was responsible for Caylee's disappearance. But in 2015, a Florida judge ruled in Casey's favor, concluding that her statements had not caused legal harm to Zenaida.
Caylee Anthony held her head high after being arrested yesterday, charged with child neglect and lying to the authorities.
I swear, we're not doing well, Caylee. Someone just said that Caylee was dead this morning. Surprise, surprise.
There was a grisly discovery less than a half mile from a missing 3-year-old girl's Orlando home.
In December 2008, a tragic discovery was made. Caylee's skeletal remains were found in a wooded area less than a mile from the Anthony family home. Her tiny bones were wrapped in a blanket and stuffed inside a trash bag, with duct tape found near her skull. The discovery shattered any hope of finding Caylee alive and raised the ultimate question: how did she die, and who was responsible?
We found that Caylee's room was decorated in a Winnie the Pooh theme, so it appeared very clear that that blanket from the crime scene did come from house. The canvas bag turned out to be a laundry bag that was with the body. It was one that is sold in pairs by one of the local big chains. We found the mates to it at the Anthony house. If everything with the body came from the house, then this stranger abduction thing is basically getting blown out of the water.
Caylee Anthony was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and manslaughter. Prosecutors painted a damning picture of a selfish young woman who saw her daughter as a burden suggesting that she had used chloroform and suffocated Caylee with duct tape before discarding her body like garbage. They pointed to incriminating searches on the Anthony family computer, including phrases like, "how to make chloroform."
The chloroform was shockingly hot, unusually hot.
After this finding of high levels of chloroform in the automobile trunk, the police then turned to the computer at the Anthony home, and on it they found searches for how to make chloroform.
But Casey's defense team, led by Jose Baez, presented a shocking counter-narrative. Caylee had accidentally drowned in the family pool, and Casey's father, George Anthony, helped cover it up. They claimed that Casey's bizarre behavior was the result of years of sexual abuse at the hands of her father, who allegedly taught her how to lie and suppress trauma.
Caylee was raised to lie, and it all began when Caylee was 8 years old and her father came into her room and began to touch her inappropriately.
George Anthony denied all accusations, but the claim was enough to cast doubt on the prosecution's case.
Have you ever sexually molested your daughter, Caylee Anthony?
No, sir.
Were you present in your home when Caylee Anthony died?
No, and when I heard that today, it hurt really bad.
When the verdict was delivered on July 5, 2011, the nation held its breath. Then came the words that would ignite outrage across America.
The defendant rise along with counsel. Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdicts.
State of Florida versus Caylee Marie Anthony. As to the charge of first-degree murder, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Caylee was acquitted of the most serious charges, found guilty only of lying to law enforcement.
The devil is dancing tonight.
Within days, crowds gathered outside the courthouse, chanting justice for Caylee and protesting what they saw as a grave miscarriage of justice. For many, the anger stemmed not just from the acquittal, but from Caylee's own actions. There was no grieving mother pleading for help, no visible signs of distress during the time her daughter was missing. Instead, there were pictures of her laughing, drinking, and seemingly unconcerned. Even as she walked free, questions lingered. If not Caylee, then who? And why had a child's death gone unanswered?
A private investigator named Dominic Casey, who worked for the defense team during the trial, unleashed a bombshell of documents about the behavior he said he witnessed between Jose Baez and Caylee Anthony. Some of it was really shocking. He says that at one point, Jose Baez set up a media interview for Caylee Anthony, and at the very last minute, she decided she didn't want to do it and said, please cancel this for me. He did that favor for Caylee Anthony, and then the repayment, according to Dominic Casey, was, this is a quote, she owed him 3 jobs.
Dominic Casey said that over the next few weeks, the relationship between Jose Baez and Caylee escalated and became more inappropriate.
Dominic Casey alleged that one time he went to the office and found Caylee Anthony running out Jose Baez's door, giggling, stark naked.
Dominic said that he confronted Caylee, and it was at that point that Caylee confessed she was paying off her legal services in sexual favors.
In the years since the trial, Caylee Anthony has lived a life of relative seclusion, only occasionally surfacing in the public eye. In 2022, Caylee Anthony released a 3-part documentary titled Caylee Anthony, Where the Truth Lies, released on Peacock. This was her first time speaking on camera about her daughter's death since her 2011 trial and acquittal. In the series, Anthony made new claims, including that her father, George Anthony, was responsible for Caylee's death. She alleged that he staged the drowning to cover up abuse, and that she was manipulated into lying. These accusations contradicted her defense team's original claim that Caylee drowned accidentally.
Because you need to fall on the sword for your daughter. You need to do this. I said,
wait. The defense attorney said to you, you need to fall on the sword.
I need to fall on the sword for my daughter.
In what way?
I need to take responsibility and claim that.
What responsibility?
The reason why Caylee wasn't here with us anymore, the reason why she's gone. That you killed her? Yeah. They wanted to blame this on me, and I said no. I said, I'm not going to take a fall for something that I had nothing to do with.
The documentary was widely criticized. Many viewers and legal experts doubted her credibility, pointing to inconsistencies in her statements. The backlash was intense, with people accusing her of continuing to lie and exploit the case for financial gain.
I have to say, it felt very one-sided. It felt like the questions were very easy and very light.
They clearly know that there's going to be an audience and that this is gonna be profitable for them.
Because they're gonna make money. That's why they're doing it. And it's on us whether we watch it or not.
George Anthony denied her allegations, and the public response was largely negative.
Did you ever have sexual contact with Caylee?
No.
As an adult, have you ever had sexual contact with a minor?
No.
However, some supporters believed her story, arguing she had been a victim of trauma.
George, the scope of one of your exams had to do with whether or not you were involved in child molestation with your daughter, Caylee, and as well with your granddaughter, Caylee. Your results are you passed this test, George, with no deception indicated to all of the relevant questions. In my professional opinion, you were truthful.
No doubt. I would never have stood for it. No doubt. No doubt.
The release reignited interest in the case, with discussions across social media, TV, and news outlets about her claims and whether she deserved a platform.
There is documented proof out there that Caylee did murder Caylee. Caylee's lawyer, Jose Baez, told their private investigator, Dominic Caylee, that Caylee had murdered Caylee. Dominic dishes all this tea in the 2 affidavits that he wrote for her bankruptcy case.
In early 2025, she did something that reignited public outrage. She launched a TikTok account. Presenting herself as a legal advocate, Caylee claimed that she was using the platform to tell her side of the story, defend herself against the accusations that had followed her for over a decade, and honor Caylee's memory. At first, she attempted to control the narrative by disabling comments, ensuring that her message was the only voice heard. But as curiosity and backlash grew, she made a surprising decision. She reopened the comments section. Almost immediately, angry individuals flooded her videos with accusations, criticism, and demands for answers.
Okay, Caylee, let's talk about the search history that got unearthed on Firefox after your little rinky-dink trial. And guess what Caylee Googled on July 16th, 2008, about 20 minutes after her father kissed Caylee on the head and left her alone with Caylee so that he could go to work. Foolproof.
The backlash became overwhelming, and in response, she once again disabled comments, retreating from the public's unfiltered reactions. Social media erupted as people reminded her that she may have been acquitted in court, but the majority of the public had never believed in her innocence.
Caylee Anthony, aka America's Most Hated Mother, has launched a TikTok and a newsletter to reintroduce herself personally and professionally as a legal advocate. Go f yourself.
Others questioned whether this was a rebranding attempt, an effort to rehabilitate her image and gain relevance in a world where social media influence can rewrite history. Many speculated that she had attempted to return to the limelight after witnessing the success of others like Gypsy Rose, who had garnered media attention, a reality TV deal, and a thriving social media presence. While she insists that she is simply advocating for herself and her daughter, the skepticism remains. To many, this is not an attempt at justice, but rather another example of her ability to manipulate public perception. The same questions that haunted the trial persist. If Caylee truly had nothing to hide, why did she lie? Why did she wait so long to report her daughter missing? And most importantly, what really happened to Caylee Anthony? Caylee Anthony may have escaped legal conviction, but she has never escaped public scrutiny. And now, in an era where social media is a form of currency, she is attempting to cash in.
Explain that, just real quick. Gonna touch on it once and leave it alone. I only utilize TikTok because it is one of the most notorious platforms for making something go viral in a short period of time. In 28 hours, this went viral. And it brought you here. I knew these motherfuckers would get mad and say something.
The same woman who once avoided accountability is now demanding to be heard. The problem? The world isn't interested in what she has to say. It's interested in what she has never said. Justice is not measured in TikTok views. Reputation is not written in comments. And no matter how many videos she posts, the truth remains the same. A little girl lost her life, and no social media platform can ever change that.
I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks about me. I don't care about that. I never will. I'm okay with myself. I sleep pretty good at night.